Well, you played in Dunbar High School, and you guys were literally the best high school team in the country. In the last two seasons that you played, you guys went 60-0. You guys did not lose a single game.
Yeah.
Like you just never hear about that. That's just crazy. And were you like you were one of the stars on that team?
Yeah, that my 2 years at Dunbar, we was undefeated as you just mentioned. And I thought we was 59-0, but I take that extra 60-0. But yeah, we was a team that was to be reckoned with. We had a lot of, as you saw, we had three number one players that got drafted in the '87 draft. Myself, Reggie Williams, and the late Reggie Lewis. But we had other players on that team as well. Gary Graham, who went on to UNLV. Tim Dawson went on to Miami University. Mike Brown went on to Syracuse. Keith James went on to UNLV. So we had so many. Darrell Woods went on to Virginia State. We had so many guys that was on that team that kind of was recognized. And but it was, we all grew up together. It just happened to be in the same neighborhood. It was a citywide school. And Coach Wade just did an amazing job with all those egos because, we had so many egos. Myself, the David Wingates, and, Reggie Williams and Reggie Lewis, the late Reggie Lewis. So that was something to be dealing with, and he did an amazing job of orchestrating that because it could have been chaotic or it could, that chemistry could not have worked. But he was the man that had his pulse on us and understood what we all needed individually as well as collectively.
Right. I actually looked it up. In the 81-82 season, you guys were 29-0, and then the next season you were 31-0. So that's 60-0. And this was considered the greatest high school team of all time.
Was it 28-0 and 31?
29-0 and then 31-0.
Okay. I'll take it.
I mean, you were considered the best player on the greatest high school team of all time. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment.
Well, thank you. And they was fortunate enough to do a documentary of us called The Baltimore Boys. So it's out there for those who want to check it out on ESPN. And it was a great way to have that reunion. But it was just sad not having Reggie Lewis, the late Reggie Lewis, part of it because we all were so close growing up. During that time. Baltimore basketball was our mecca. Was our mecca, our way of looking forward towards the future.
Well, you end up going to Wake Forest, which I guess your daughter is going to now. You graduated from there, and you entered the '87 NBA draft. Now, leading up to this, you're 5'3", and people are telling you like, okay, look, you got to be at least 6 feet, 6'2", 6'3". At 5'3". How do you get it in your mind that I'm going to go pro regardless of what reality and past performance is telling me, like in terms of like the history of the NBA? Like what kind of drive does Muggsy Bogues have to say, I'm going to make it as a first round draft pick in the best basketball league on the planet?
Well, again, it starts from that be more mindset, that mentality that I had, resilience and believing in me, understanding if once I play against the best, if I have success against the best, I need to be included with the best. Being able to have that understanding of the game. And, after coming from Dunbar, I felt like I was prepared. And then playing in the ACC, which was one of the toughest conferences that you can play in at that time, playing against all the best guards, the Kenny Smiths and, the Mark Price, the Vince Hamlin, Spud Wabbs, and you go to Maryland, the Keith Gatlins, and so forth, down to Duke, to Tommy Adams, to Johnny Dawkins. So I felt like, if I had, again, that mindset, if I had success, with the best, now I need to be included with the best. So, having that understanding at each level, being able to be successful. For me, I've never been a one that just wanted to be part of a team and just because, you're small, you want to just fit in, I always wanted to be that starter. I always wanted to be the one that running the show. And being able to have that, that understanding of how to get these guys to galvanize behind you, to understand what you bring to the table, that it just is, no different from what a 6'2" or 6'3" guy brings to the table. So to get that respect and have that understanding of that game, has always been at the forefront for me. And I knew once I continue to keep having success, I'll put myself in a good situation. But I think the '86 season really put the nation on notice about what I was capable of doing when I represented the USA in the World's Games.
Well, you were the number 12 overall draft pick in the '87 draft. And this was not a lightweight draft. I mean, David Robinson was there, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Kevin Johnson. And I mean, originally you were drafted by the Washington Bullets, but then they moved you over to the Charlotte Hornets right away.
Yeah, which was I always say it was a match made in heaven. But at the time, you didn't think so. Being highly drafted, number 12, and going back playing in your backyard, which was Washington was, for me, it was like a dream come true. But, I understood going forward. We had a lot of older players. Bernard King, Moses Malone, may Moses rest in peace. Manute, guys who was on the tail end of their career, Jeff Malone and those guys. And I felt like they was bringing me in to kind of now bringing this up-tempo type of style of play. And they was going to accordingly start to bring pieces around me. But after the season, we lost to Detroit. And having my exit meeting with Wex Unseld, which is a normal thing. They telling you, well, Muggsy, they're going to, we're going to bring some young guys in. We're going to bring guys in that kind of fit the style that we trying to play. And then by the time I got to my apartment, I got a phone call from my agent saying that the Charlotte Hornets just picked you in the expansion draft. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just left the exit meeting and the Bullets just told me what they was going to do. But agents went on to say, well, they decided to go ahead and not protect you and allow you to go with the Charlotte Hornets. And like I said, it was a match made in heaven, man. I went down to Charlotte and was able to really put my career on notice and on the national stage and playing with guys like Lonzo Mourning, LJ, Del Curry, and Kendall Gill, and Hersey Hawkins, David Wingate, and those guys, Johnny Newman. I mean, it started to really, we put Charlotte on the map and to where we was able to be very representable, for our community.
So on that Washington team, you were teammates with Maute Bol, who was the tallest guy in the league at that point at 7'7".
Absolutely.
And you were 5'3". There's a 28-inch difference between you two. I remember there was like a Sports Illustrated picture with the two of y'all next to each other, and they just looked crazy.
Yeah. If you thought that was crazy, just imagine us going through the airport together. And and at that time, we didn't have the private planes. We used to have to fly commercials. And we had to always go through the airport. And of course, me and Manute and Moses Malone, we always were together. And because Moses kind of took me on his wing as a rookie. And we was always together, him and Darryl Walker. We was all together. And while we were walking down the hall, down the airport, of course, people are looking and saying, well, damn, these tall guys and this little guy, what they got his little son with him and so forth. And of course, they had a lot of jokes. But then we get on the airplane, and at the time, first class only had 8 seats. And we went by seniority who got the first class seats. And of course, Manute and myself, we was the youngest, so we had to go in the back. And, him trying to sit in them seats and his knees all up in his chest. And so, we had so much fun together, man. I miss him dearly. It just, it's just sad to see him no longer with us.
Yeah, I can't even imagine Manute Bol and coach. Like that imagery is just kind of like, I can't even put my head around it.
Yeah, he had to fly coach with the rest of us.